Hey, I'm Alex Macklin from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing The Crew, Journeys to the Center of the Earth by Cosmos. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's Journeys to the Ends of the Earth. Journeys to the Ends of the Earth. I just want to say Center of the Earth every single time. Instinctively, that's in my head. But nonetheless, The Crew, Journeys to the Ends of the Earth by Cosmos. This is a 2 to 5 player game. It is arguably the third version of The Crew that is out. I say arguably because they also had like that family version of The Crew, but I won't count that one. We'll pretend that one doesn't exist. We have The Crew. I can't remember the first one. There's Mission Deep Sea is the second one. The first one, I don't remember if it had a subtitle or not. And then we have Journeys to the Ends of the Earth, which is a small diversification from The Crew in the sense that this one is very specifically meant to be played as an arc across the entire logbook you'll be going through and then scoring up everything at the end to see how well you did. Basically, this is more of a campaign than the other ones, although in theory, you can still play any single session as a single shot game. Now, I will generally go over what's going on in The Crew as a general universe. I'll show some of the differences over here. I will be avoiding some of the spoilers of the later scenarios, so I'm basically going to walk you through the first 5 scenarios, so to speak. Well, not sort of. I'll explain more soon, but you'll be getting the most minor spoilers of how things progress. Most minor, trust me on this. But also, if you just don't want that at all, just skip directly to like my thoughts and all that. Anyways, in The Crew, you're going to divvy out the various cards. So I'm not going to count them out right now just to be faster over here. But you're going to divvy out the cards to the number of players. And then players are going to be trying to play cards to accomplish their goals. Specifically, for example, let's take a look at this card over here. This card has a 3 on the back, which means it's going to be harder than the one that has a 1. This card has a 5, which means it's going to be even harder there. More on that soon. This card says over here, exactly 1 crew member must win exactly 1 pink card. Ooh, that's a fun one over here. So we are trying to get 2 people to do that over here because this is based on the player count over here. We need to get at least 2 people to do it based on the player count over here. And then we have over here it's a difficulty of 3. So exactly 1 crew member must win exactly 1 pink card. Alright, from there, now you're trying to accomplish your goals. So everyone's going to look at their hands. The player that has the what's it called? The Trump suit over here, the helicopters, the player that has the highest there is going to go ahead and start you off. And so because there's only 4 helicopter cards, you have basically 4 colors, values 1 through 9. And then for the helicopters, you have 1 through 4. So that means going to be a total of 36 cards by the time you're all counting it up. Whoever's the 4 helicopter starts the round. So whoever that player is, they go ahead, they take a look at their hand, not this player either, maybe it's this player. There we go. They have the 4 over here. They're going to start us off. And then from there, players are going to try to accomplish this goal. Exactly 1 crew member must win exactly 1 pink card. So how are we going to achieve that, considering this is a must-follow game? So we go ahead and try to make sure that other players can get rid of the cards. Again, remembering that if we're playing a 4-player game right now, in theory, depending on how things go, we could, for example, let's try to play this over here. Because we're playing a 4-player game, we don't know the distribution. I'll go ahead and play my 1 pink. This next player will go ahead, and they'll try to look at it right now. They see they have 3 pinks. Okay, we'll see what happens. They'll go ahead and play their 6 pink over here. Great, they get rid of that over there. Then this next player goes ahead, they play their card. Do they have any pink? They don't have any pink at all. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's crazy, but that also gives us some opportunities over here because what we possibly can do, we know they have helicopters, or at least I know I have helicopters. So I'll just go ahead and play, let's go get rid of a lower card. We'll get rid of that one over there. This next player must have a lot of pink. They'll go ahead and they'll play their 1 pink. Great, that's a trick gone. And that means this is going to go to this player over here. They already have more than 1 pink card. So this crew member is not eligible for that, which means they'll go ahead and start the next trick. They have another pink, and they may as well. They actually don't have another pink, so they can tell people, look at me, I don't have another pink card. We can give people that information. So, well, we can't really tell them right now, but because we already did not use our helper tokens, which we'll explain more soon, let's go ahead and just play a 9 of blue. Oh my gosh, it's actually going to be tricky. Let's not play a 9 of blue. That would be a mistake. Let's play a low value card. Let's play a 3 of yellow over here. That's going to be in play. This player has to follow suit of Able. They'll take control so that they can play more pink. Keeping in mind, 2 pinks are already gone. This player has to play a yellow if they can. Oh, crazy. They still don't have a yellow. They'll play a 2 blue over here. This player has to play a yellow. They'll get rid of their 2 yellow. And that means this one over here, again, to this player. To this player over here, they won that trick. That means they can now go ahead and play pink. Depending on which colors are out there, they know that there's at least 1 8 in play, so they'll hold on to, they'll play their 7 right now. Let's give information. Great. This next player will go ahead and play. They could try to take control with this. The problem is, if anyone else is pink, they have to lead pink. So that's not a good way to go. Let's go ahead and play this 8 of blue. Great. We're playing our blue. We're lowering what cards we have, for better or for worse. This player has to play. We can go ahead, well, because again, if we take the 8, but then if we take the 8, we only have the 3 and the 2, that opens up the opportunities for possibly one player to just take that. They'll take the 8, then we'll go ahead and back to this player, the starting player. They'll go ahead and play their card, and they'll play a, they don't have any pink, so they'll play a 9 blue. Done. Problem solved. But that means this player has now also 1, 2 pinks. They are starting over here, though, so they get to go ahead and start the next trick, and they can go ahead and get rid of one of their pinks. We have 4 pinks out of play, which means there's still 5 pink cards in play. But that means we already know that 2 players, do we know that 2 players don't have? No, technically we don't yet know that 2 players don't have. We don't actually know that information, because it's not necessarily, I mean, some people know that, others don't. They'll play their 3 pink over here. Next player goes ahead. They can't play pink, so now we know this player's out of pink. They'll play a 5 green, which means this player can take the win on this one. The problem is they have to make sure that somebody else takes a pink at a different point. So they'll go ahead and they'll play the 4 pink. This player will go ahead, they'll play a card, they'll play that, and the 4 pink is going to win this trick. So now they also have won that, which means the only player who is now possible to be able to win is this player. So he's going to try to go ahead and feed him something, trying to get rid of his cards. Let's see if we can go ahead and play. Let's play. We have a lot of yellow, so let's play a yellow 1. We'll play a yellow 1 over here. Great, no problem. This player takes a look at their hand. We don't know what we got over here. Other players could have a 1. 1 would win the trick. Although we know that this player is out of pink. Do we know this player's out of pink? No, I don't know if we know that yet. I'm trying to think what the table knows. Let's just go ahead and play a 4 over here and play it safe. This player goes ahead, and they can play a pink. They don't have a yellow, so interesting. Who's winning this right now? Who is winning the pink right now? Oh, this is risky because I'm trying to remember the distribution. We could look at the table. This person has 1 pink left. We would know that. We would know there's 1 pink left in play. So we'll actually get rid of our pink right now, which means this player can possibly win the trick. In fact, they have to win the trick, but now we know there's only 1 pink in play. There's 1 pink somewhere on the board in play. So now this player can possibly win it with one of their helicopter cards. Keeping in mind the hand distribution was not even over here because I'm showing you how it works. But because of that, this player won. So now this player has to go ahead and play something. We'll play a... Oh, do we play a helicopter? No, we can't play helicopter. We'll play a yellow. So because we play a yellow, this player can now go ahead and go, and they can take control with the yellow over here. That's great. This player can go ahead and play a, I don't know, let's play the 7 over here. Let's play that over here. We'll play that 7. Great, over here. That player played the 8 yellow. This player is going to play a 6, and they win that. The 8 yellow wins again. This player takes that over here, which means now they start. They have 1 pink in play. This is where I'm going to gamble. I'm not actually gambling because I know the cards, but in theory they'll gamble. If we play this, and this player has the helicopters over here, if this player, this area here, has a helicopter, they'll win the pink. So they play the pink. This person over here plays a helicopter to take control. They play the 3 helicopter. This player plays a 9. This player plays a 5 over here, and they take a 1 pink. There are no pinks left in play. A single player won a single pink. That was a whole lot longer than I planned it to be, but that's the idea of a challenge. You're working together to try to accomplish a challenge. Challenges come in various levels of difficulty, which is where this game gets interesting. Because when you're done playing the first round, the starting round of the game, so to speak, you're actually going to take a look at this logbook, because the way our game works is you're going to put your adventurer down somewhere, and then the gold token somewhere. And every single time you play through a full cycle of cards, you're going to move this one, and you'll move your adventurer equal to the difficulty of the challenge. That last challenge was 3, so we would move 1, 2, 3 over here. So you're trying to slowly move along the progress over here. The difficulty, actually, I think that one you move 2. I believe that challenge you're going to move 2 over here because of the numbers there. So we don't move only 2. Each challenge is different though. So for example, if next round we got this challenge, we're playing a 4-player game. This challenge is all other crew members must win exactly 1 trick. You must win all of the remaining tricks. This applies to a specific crew member. Everyone else has to win 1 trick. You have to win everything else. But if you achieve this, you'll move forward 5. So if you don't achieve it, this would move forward 1 and you would stay where you are. If you do achieve it, this would move forward 1 and you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you've already won the game in those 2 tricks. The time token advanced twice and your adventure has advanced the total difficulty of the challenges. Which is where when you play this game, you can play it safe. You can take on lower challenges that are easier, but you're moving at or even below the pace of time. Well, not really below the pace of time, but you start off behind time. So that's going to be the trade-off there. That's basically the way the game works. Now, each of these pages over here is going to be a challenge, and you're going to get a score based on how far the time token has advanced. For example, if you end here and the time token's over here, you'll get a score of -2. But on the other hand, if the time token advances and you haven't advanced, you're actually going to get a positive score for each turn past the time token advancing, which means you could end the game with a positive score. And you don't know this yet, but positive scores are bad. In this game, you are trying to get a negative score, because at the very end of all the the missions, what you're going to do is you're going to ignore your highest result. Let's say you had one really bad round. It took you 7 points. You got 7 points. It's terrible. It was horrible. So you'll ignore your higher score, but then you'll add everything else together, the positives and the negatives, and you're going to go ahead and try to get at least a negative score in order to win the entire game arc. That is the way that we play through the Journeys of the Ends of the Earth. Now, some things from the crew will be familiar. You have these communication tokens you can use to show if a card is your highest, lowest, or your only card of that color. You're able to use those equal to the number of players to try to give information about your hand. Outside of that, these various zones are going to have various abilities. Each of these different symbols have a different ability as to how they work, the restrictions they add, whether it's communication, whether it's passing cards, whether it's a fog of war. One of my favorite ones over here is going to be the fog of war, where you only get a certain number of cards and you keep drawing up after that, meaning there's cards that are not in play, but they will be in play. And then every few pages you get what is called a special round. That's why I said I'm going to show you the first 5 over here, because the first few are just various degrees of where the token starts for the time, and then the various restrictions you have as far as things you can do. Like, oh, if you have a bicycle symbol on the cards in your hand, then you can't communicate as long as you have those in your hand. You're going too fast, so to speak. So there's all these small rules around each of the symbols until you get to the end. But then every few pages you get to a special scenario, so to speak. Those break the rules in different ways, giving you unique challenges and unique ways you lay out the cards that are very fun and innovative and interesting challenges. They just change up the basic flow of the game, where you're going through these giant decks of challenge cards. These decks over here, that's an absolute ton of challenge cards with a whole lot of different difficulties and ways and clever different combos. That's basically the crew Journeys to the Journeys to the Ends of the Earth. The crew Journeys to the Ends of the Earth is a game which you're going to be trying to play through rounds, trying to advance further than time tracker with your investigator, trying to basically achieve the various goals and make judgment calls. One thing I didn't tell you is every round, the captain, so to speak, has the opportunity to basically discard the top card of both decks. So if you have these cards, he can say, I'm going to discard this card, and then he can be like, ooh, those are both too difficult, let's discard this one, and then you can choose between those cards. You basically have 2 discards per round, 1 from each pile that you are allowed to use. You might not want to use them if you're happy with the top cards of each round. Outside of that, there's more adventures to follow, but I'm going to kind of leave you to discover those. But that is basically the crew Journeys to the Ends of the Earth, which means it's time for my review. Let's start off with the fact that I love the crew. The crew in general, like the original crew game, I loved it. Then we played the crew mission Deep Sea, loved it even more. I thought they did a much better job with the tasks, made it more innovative and interesting, to the point that I almost feel like the crew doesn't need to exist, the original one. Like, basically the crew mission Deep Sea does it all but better. Now the crew Journeys to the Ends of the Earth is more of a step sideways. There's pros, there's things I like better about this one, and there's things I like a little bit worse. It's also worth noting that since those games have come out, we've seen the Lord of the Rings trick-taking games, which very much are a similar vibe as to cooperative trick-taking with specific goals you're trying to accomplish. This feels like it's leaning a bit more into that, taking the premise of the crew and then making it, you know, more that full journey arc you're going through, but a bit more easier to dive into any one scenario at any given point. But with that, let's talk about the things I like about the crew in general. I love cooperative trick-taking. It's the thing that made me like trick-taking. I did not like trick-taking until I played the crew years ago. That was the thing that led me on this journey of like, oh, trick-taking is not about I do or don't like that mechanic. It's I do or don't like the games that have the mechanic, and the crew kind of opened my eyes to other games from there. I mentioned at the beginning of this video, or actually I may not have mentioned, but if I forgot to mention this, I'll play as a channel sponsor, more about them at the end of the video, but Ghost of Christmas is actually one of the second games I played that was trick-taking that I was like, ooh, clever trick-taking is really a vibe that I can really enjoy and appreciate. And so those games have, the crew is the first game that opened my eyes to that. Other games further opened my eyes to it, and I've really enjoyed a lot of trick-taking games since then, including the follow-up Mission Deep Sea, and including the various Lord of the Rings games. There's something puzzling about working together with the other players at the table with hidden communication. There's limited communication. You can only do certain, like, you can talk your game plan before cards are dealt. Once the cards are dealt, you can only do whatever the game allows you to communicate, which in the case of Lord of the Rings is basically nothing. In the case of this one is that one card you can reveal. And overall, it's just such a fun little challenge. The mission range flexibility, this is something I liked about Mission Deep Sea, is something I like here as well. The sheer variety of missions you are trying to accomplish and the difficulty, my group personally, we love trying the harder ones, like, ooh, let's grab a 6. A 6 seems fun, we can move forward so far. Except you can't, because you actually have to win a 6, and winning a 6 is so challenging. Winning a 4 is challenging, but flipping over and being like, oh my gosh, we are really going to have to work together. We are really going to have to be on our game in order to accomplish that goal. It's such a satisfying feeling to both see those puzzles, but then also to do those puzzles is so much fun. The special missions in this book are a lot of fun. They really mix up the degree of complexity that's going on, and they force you to re-examine different ways you're going to be laying out cards and accomplishing goals and accomplishing the challenges. The special missions are a lot of fun. I look forward to each one of them. Honestly, one of my biggest complaints is that I almost wish that this had like a basic book of just like the way to play the game, and then an entire book that was just the special missions because they're so much fun. They're a little less replayable. That's one of the downsides of them. In fact, one of my problems with the Lord of the Rings series of games is they feel a little less replayable, the nature of the fixed standard of each one. This one would be a bit more replayable because you are just drawing different cards and different combos. You have to do this challenge and this challenge and that challenge, and they're all so different. You have to do them all in a single session. That really mixes up the game state a lot. And I like this a lot, and it works well at a variety of player counts. I still think 2 is not the best over here, but I would say anywhere 3, 4, or 5 are all excellent. There's a lot to like about the crew, and the specific campaign nature of this gives you that, okay, great, we had a bad session, great, but we can make it up. We got 2, that's fine, but we got -2 last round, and if we can get -1 in the next few rounds, we can buffer ourselves up for another bad round and just hope to balance out to 0 by the end of it all. It is incredibly satisfying. It is very accessible. Each individual session, like a page to go through, I mean, it does range a bit, but I would say it takes anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes per page, maybe a little less. No, I think it's probably fair. 20 to 30 minutes per page overall, because you are playing through multiple tricks on each page in order to make that progress. Slower if you take on lower risk ones, faster if you take on higher risk ones, assuming you actually succeed at them. As far as what I don't like about the game, I'd say 2 small things. The first is going to be that outside of the special missions, it can be a bit repetitive. Sure, the different symbols mix things up a bit, and these do mix things up a lot if you get fun ones, but sometimes you get a bunch that are a little bit more basic, and it can be a little bit more repetitive when you don't have those clever goals you're trying to work towards. The other thing is the same problem I have with the Lord of the Rings series of games, which is because this gives you that campaign arc, I am significantly less likely to pull this out and just play a game. One of the things I love about the Crew Mission Deep Sea is it's one of those games I can just pull out, play it, and I don't feel this obligation to play it with the same group or remember where we're up to or any of that. I just play the game and it's so much fun. There actually is like a progression you could go through in theory, but it's not really done the same way. You could just pull it out, play it, and have a great time trying to accomplish the goals. The nature of this giving you the arc to play through, and again, even though you could theoretically play a single shot, I'm just never going to. So I'm going to play it with my group, and then, 7 months later, I'll play it again and start with a new group, and hopefully remember which group I'm playing with it, and making sure I'm playing with that group of people as we go through. I mean, you could add people in and take them out as you go along, but do I really want to? Maybe. I don't think so. Whenever a game gives you this, like, okay, great, play through a bunch of sessions together, it kind of incentivizes that. This is the exact problem I have with the Lord of the Rings series of trick-taking games, where I feel like they're great. They're so much fun. But then once I'm done with them, I'm like, maybe I'll start again in, a year and a half, maybe. Like, that could be fun, I guess. Like, I do like the gameplay. It's just that they've structured it as a sequence, and that means I am more likely to engage with it as a sequence. That's my only other real complaint about this. Just know what you're getting yourself into when you dive into this. As far as final thoughts on this, overall, I thoroughly enjoy the Crew Journeys to the Ends of the Earth. I think it's another great addition in the Crew line of games, and it's also a noteworthy follow-up to, again, the way, like, I very much do feel that the Lord of the Rings games did copy what the Crew was doing, add their own twist to it, and this is kind of being like, hey, guys, we were here first, and we can do what you're doing too. I don't know if that's, like, what's going on in the boardrooms behind the scenes, but it kind of is what it feels like. And I think they did a great job with it, maintaining the feeling to the Crew, like, to the same feeling that the original Crew gave you, while giving you that campaign gameplay, which, again, comes with some downsides along with it. Overall, final thoughts wise, I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's an excellent game. If you like the Crew, definitely check it out. If you like Lord of the Rings, definitely the Lord of the Rings trick-taking game, definitely check it out. Highly recommend this one, just with those small caveats. As far as other game recommendations, definitely check out, obviously I've said this already multiple times, the Two Towers trick-taking game. It is my favorite from those two. There's Lord of the Rings one, there's the Two Towers. There will be a Return of the King one. I have not played that one yet, because it's not out yet, but the Two Towers is my favorite from the Lord of the Rings trick-taking games. If you also want more cooperative sort of trick-taking games, check out For Northwood for a solo trick-taking game experience. And then I mentioned that Allplay is a channel sponsor. You can check out Sail or Sail Legacy if you want their own spin on cooperative trick-taking games for a specific 2-player trick-taking experience. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co. Hope you found this review helpful, and as always, I hope you have a good one.